get your BJCP style right, otherwise, no score, no luck, beer moved on. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, everybody! What a week! Far out! It has been absolutely flat out. The weekend, if you had watched my previous videos, you would have known that there was 2 competitions being run on the weekend. One of them was the Monster Mash by Braden Rollison, and the other one was the Sober National Homebrew Championship. So everybody in New Zealand putting their beers in, I'm not sure, 800 odd beers that went into the competition. So that was running on Saturday, and throughout Saturday there were tweets coming out. Boom, boom, boom. Silver, bronze, gold, silver, bronze, gold, silver, bronze, gold. None of them had my name on it though. Never mind. Big shout out to Matt Smith, who took the champion brewer place for the National Homebrew competition. Well done. I'm looking forward to seeing the beer that you're going to be producing as your prize. I'm guessing that's what it still is the prize, is that you get a commercially produced beer to get pumped out. But also for the Hut Brewer group, we had 2 people that did really well. Braden Rollison, who won a couple of bronzes, and Aidan Craig, who won a bronze for his American Pale Ale. Well done, mate, that's awesome. Also, Braden won best in his class for a German wheat or rye beer, which is outstanding. Absolutely superb. As for me, not that good. Learned a lot. I learned about styles, because pretty much I fell down on my beer styles. I entered 3 beers in. The cider. It was a New England cider, and I got scored 0. Because apparently when I type in and register the beer for a cider, there's a little brewer's notes thing, and I didn't type anything in. So on my score sheet that came through, it said no notes, fail. It wasn't a required field, so I didn't type anything in. I'll know next year to type every single possible thing in that I could possibly think of. So that's why I failed on my cider, because there was no brewer's notes, which is strange. My other 2 beers, the Smashing Southern, had an infection. I can taste the infection now in the beer, surprise surprise. I couldn't taste it before because there was lots of hops hiding it, but it was just a little bit of diacetyl. And bear in mind, the judges have got great palates, and they'll pick up the littlest, tiniest infection and 0, because they don't need to taste a beer that's got an infection in it. They want to taste good beer. And diacetyl in some beers is okay in small amounts, but in the category that I put it in, which was a New Zealand Pale Ale, yeah, you don't want to have it in there at all. So that's alright, I learned from that one. My final beer, which was a peculiar one that I put in, which is one of the bottles which is 2 years, it's got 2 years of age on it. The scorecard coming through on that was brilliant. Now these are BJCP competition scorecards. So it's out of 50, you score. For aroma, I had 19 out of 20. That's where I stopped. I put it in the wrong style category. So reading through the scorecard, they loved the aroma, loved the complexity of it and what was in there, but then they got down to the taste and they couldn't pick up the taste that was meant to be in the style, and then they decided this beer isn't in the style category that it should be. So it had a good start, but it had a bad finish. But what I did learn is styles, and from talking to people online about it, they learned about styles as well, because quite a few people said, yeah, no, I got scored because it wasn't in style. So my advice to any homebrewers out there that are going to put a beer into a homebrew competition, make sure you put it in exactly the right style that it belongs. Okay? Don't guess the style. Don't try and work the style out for yourself. Send your beer around to lots of people. Send your beer around to some beer judges. Send your beer to people that you know have got a really good palate and do BJCP scoring, and get them to tell you what style they think it's in. or tell you what faults they think's in there before you even think about entering the beer. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I learned, is get your BJCP style right, otherwise no score, no luck, beer moved on. But this is what we do, we live and we learn. And this was the first national homebrew competition that I put some beers into, and as I said, it was a rush. I'm not making up excuses, but it was a rush. I was trying to scramble to try and find stuff to put in because there were other competitions sort of happening around the same time. Like the Monster Mash, which I didn't have anything ready for that I had to throw in, and the Smash Off that I was trying to brew and coordinate. But hey, I'm not making excuses. My faults were my faults. I fucked up on entering the cider. I fucked up with diacetyl in my smashing oven. I fucked up by putting Peculiar One in the wrong style. So they're the things that I learned for next year to do better, which I will. So anyway, cheers Sober, and all the judges of Sober for doing a tremendous job. I think you've done an outstanding job of going through that many beers and possibly taking some criticism from some people that you don't deserve to get criticism from, because you've got a job to do and you're tasting beers, and if a beer doesn't taste right, you put it aside. So good job. Cheers to you for doing a great job, all you judges. The Smash Off swap is happening Thursday, tomorrow, at All Grain. So all the beers have been put into boxes, picked up, packed, ready to go. There's still one person missing in action. I don't know how to get hold of him. So we had ended up with 12 beers out of 18. Pardon me. 5 beers died from infection. Good job they didn't go into the National Homebrew competition. But anyway, we have 12 beers. So I'll be doing the swap for that on Thursday, tomorrow night, and getting that all organised. So after that you'll start to see me drinking those Smash Off beers and my thoughts on what they are, etc. Speaking of beers, I got some mail. I've got Experiment X. This is an unnamed session IPA by Gashslug. Cheers mate, thank you very much for firing these beers over to me. Also, Black Metal from Gashslug. So this is his Indian Pale Ale or Hoppy Stout. You decide, no rules, no masters. So obviously this one would be hard to put into a BJCP style. But hey, this is what homebrewing's all about, is brewing good beer. So I will be cracking open these in the weekend when I've got time to sit back and relax and enjoy them. But yep, cheers Gash. I have some beers that I am going to be firing over to you. I also have some whiskey that I will be firing over to you as well. Whiskey that I've distilled myself. It's about 3 years old. It will be in a little brown 330ml bottle. So don't pop the top and knock it back because it'll be 80 proof. Okay? The one that doesn't got the bubbles in it is not beer, it's whiskey. Dr. Rudy's Pills is still in the fermenter. I'm coming on to week 4. Still bubbling away at 13 degrees, so I upped the temperature for the yeast to start to clean it out, and I upped it to 22 degrees, and it went, I'm getting all excited again and bubbling away for about the first day, and now it started to die back down again. So that's good. That's the yeast getting reactivated and cleaning out all the sulphurs and whatever's been left over from fermenting at that low 13 degree temperature. So I'm thinking I'm going to leave it in there at around 20 degrees for a week. And this weekend I'll rack it off into secondary and get my first taste, because I haven't tasted it yet. Might be infected. Oh yeah, who knows. And I have been working on collecting bits. Little brass 1/2 inch compression fittings for copper, etc. Tubing. How to fit brass compression fittings into other bits and pieces. This is all my R&D work for my horizontal counterflow chiller. I want to build a horizontal counterflow chiller. I've seen some designs for some and I think it's a great idea. So basically it's tube like this with a copper tube that runs through it, and it's a matrix of them. So all the cold water runs through that, and the hot air runs through that, and it transfers its temperature over. So you drop bits. So I've been looking at the best way to put it together, because based on my last counterflow video I didn't give people a parts list. So this time I'm going to give you a parts list and exactly how much it costs and what to do to build it. Because getting these 1/2 inch to fit 20mm pipes and bits and pieces, what parts do you need to drill out, what epoxy resin do you need to connect these two bits together, what do you do for this to get this to go all the way through, because there's a little stop in there. So you've got to drill out the stop. Now how do you drill out the stop? You drill it with a drill. Well, no surprises there, but how do you sharpen the drill? So there's a special way to sharpen the drill for when you're milling out the inside and the internal ring of a brass compression fitting like that, so it doesn't catch. So I'll show you all those little tips and bits and pieces as well, so that you know what to do, what tools you need, and how you can build it. But first off, now that I've got the bits, I've got to do a prototype and check it to make sure that the bonding compound for the plastic is going to withhold the temperatures, and also that the plastic is going to withhold the temperatures, because it may shoot up to 80 degrees, and I've got to make sure that a short period of 80-degree water just running past one of these joints isn't going to stuff it in the long term, because I don't want to tell you to build one of these and then 6 months later after using it it's got a fucking leak in it. Okay, I want to do it properly and make sure it's safe. When I do the video, it will be from woe to go, including the R&D tests, how to build it, how to make up the jigs to hold everything together. So it's going to be a fun project, and it's sort of coming up to Christmas, so I'm probably guessing that Christmas time is when I'll be pumping that video out, by the time I finish doing my R&D and prototyping. But anyway, that is enough from me for this Homebrew Wednesday. Cheers everybody, happy Homebrew Wednesday everybody, have yourself another one.